Okay, I think we're good. I think we're ready. I got my fire going. I got the music going. I don't think it's too loud. I apologize, guys, if it's too loud. I think there's like a slight hum. I can't figure out what it is. Sorry. Deal with it. I'm trying my best, guys. I'm trying my best. Just get lost in the campfire sounds, the music, the bugs that'll pick up, the sounds of the beautiful lake. You can't really see it from this. Let me make sure blue light. Let me double check we're recording from the glasses, right? You can't really tell because my camera does make me look like a ghost, apparently. My last stream. Sorry, guys, I look like a ghost last stream. And you can't really tell, but right here is a unbelievably gorgeous lake. I lucked out with this camp spot tonight. I'm so thankful and appreciative. God's amazing. I literally just picked a random number and got like the best, most secluded campsite in, where am I? Oh yeah, I'm in California, guys. Hey, guess where I am? I'm in California, Kentucky. Hey guys, guess where I am right now? Can you guess? Where's that geolocator guy where he can like pinpoint you on the map? Where do you think I am? I'll give you a hint. California. But in Kentucky. Alright, quick little edit. We'll get situated, we'll get set. It's June 4th, 2025. This is episode number 3. Welcome in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for tuning in. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. We got our little campfire going today. Again, we are here in, again, California, Kentucky, Campbell County Lake. It is day 21 of this journey we have begun. So stream 3, episode 3, but we are currently in day 21 total of this journey. We'll get to like the updates on that a little bit here, and we'll talk about some fun, cool things. So you know what to do. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I got behind me, if you can see, that is my dad's tent. We mentioned on the last stream. We'll talk about my tents to start off here. We'll get that out of the way here first. That is, as you can see behind me, my father's tent. I visited him before he passed in December. I spent Thanksgiving weekend with him, and during that weekend, you know, the last time I was with him, we sorry if my mic was too close there. Yeah, while I spent that last November or Thanksgiving with him, we were planning camping trips. We were going to go on 3 different camping trips this year, and we ordered that tent together. We went through the trial and error of looking at tents. I had actually given him 2 tents, 2 of my own tents, and one was just too small. Like, it was a 2-person tent, but it was too low on the ground, and he had just had back surgery, and he didn't want to like crawl around and have to push up off the ground and lay on the ground. And I actually got him a different tent that was a little bit too small, but it was a cot. It was like a raised cot off the ground, which he liked because he could sit on that. But the tent was just literally like a shell, almost only encompassing the cot itself. And so, yeah, neither was going to work for him. So we settled on this, and he got a little cot, and he was going to have that. It was a little taller. It's like actually like a 3-person, 2-person tent. He was going to use it for himself. But I now use it, and it's awesome. And just putting it together, like assembling it and deassembling it, is awesome. This is the second time I've assembled it, was much easier here in Kentucky. Arkansas, I don't know if you're familiar with Arkansas, y'all out there, but it's extremely windy. I was also on the lake. That was episode 1. So that was the campsite where I was at for episode 1, and you didn't get to see it, but I did. That is the tent I'm talking about in episode 1. And yeah, it was a nightmare trying to assemble it in like really windy conditions. So this one was thankfully much easier without the wind. But yeah, my dad was cool. I'm going to talk about my dad a lot on my stream, so buckle in. And I'm going to write up a lot about my dad, and I'm going to talk about him, and I'm also going to talk about me. So don't think it's one way or the other, you know. If you're hearing me talk about my dad, or you're hearing me talking about how I'm affected by my dad, deal with it, all right? Deal with it, because I'm dealing with it, and that's what this stream is. But I did want to share because, you know, he wasn't really a camper at all. And I wasn't much. I mean, I would go once in a while with friends when I was out in California and stuff. But in the last 4 years, I've really gotten into this, and truly gotten into this, as well as building furniture. And so my dad and I, the last 3 years, were really bonding together because he was a carpenter and he built furniture. Just in those two things. He really liked that I was taking an interest in the things he liked. Like, he liked that I was taking an interest and actively participating and engaging and asking questions and trying to, you know, soak up like a sponge the information from him when it comes to building furniture, you know, and just carpentry in general. And in return, I mean, it wasn't even a trade-off, it just was who he is. But I mean, in exchange, he took an interest in the camping thing. He never did this before, but he pushed himself out of his comfort zone and did what I liked. Like, he showed up and did what I did with me because I cared about it, and he cared about me, so he showed up for me and cared about what I cared about. But then he actually ended up liking it. I think he just kind of did it just to do it. The first camping trip we did was in the Smoky Mountains, and it was like a big long trip. It was a big weekend trip. We went to a Tennessee football game. We did the camping stuff, campfires, hangouts, talks, that drive around the Smokies, that kind of thing. But he was adamant about whitewater rafting, you know, outside of Chattanooga, the CORY River. And my dad is not. He played tennis. He was kind of athletic, but he had a bad back. He was not at a state of, you know, athleticism in his life where he could just whitewater raft. And long story short, the whole trip he was all hyped about, we're going whitewater rafting, we're going whitewater rafting. We booked the trip. We went camping Friday night. You know, we went to the Tennessee football game on Saturday. We drove around Saturday night, and Sunday came around, and honestly, I was expecting my dad to wake up that morning and be like, I'm sore, let's not go whitewater rafting, maybe next time, or, you know, have some kind of excuse or something ready. And I woke up early. I would wake up early, pretty much sunrise no matter what. I'm just an early riser now, being like a manual labor, blue collar worker guy, but I wake up super early and my dad's already up, like, you ready? Let's go whitewater rafting. And it was crazy. I was like in disbelief, you know. So again, it's a long story, but we ended up going whitewater rafting, man, and it was awesome. It was so cool. It was so funny. Like, it was just so didn't make sense, you know. It just shouldn't have happened, but it did, and it was awesome, and it was epic, and he had the best time ever. Like, it was the happiest I've ever seen my dad, was on that raft, being like, whoa, you know, going up on the raft. Our guide was real funny, and he was like doing funny stuff where he'd like spin us around and stop us and make us jump, and he at one point did a thing where he literally jumped in the air, you know. My dad was just loving it, you know. So yeah, so we were going to go whitewater rafting again. We were going to go camping again. Obviously, we cannot do that now in this life anymore, now that he's passed. But in heaven, we will have plenty of time in eternity together to camp and raft and play tennis and, you know, do all the fun stuff. And I can hear all of his stories again for the 1,000th and millionth time, you know, the same stories that I could just, you know, used to hate hearing. And now I would do anything just to hear one more time. But long story short, that's my dad's tent. I use it. It is, again, it's a pain if it's really windy to set up. So I do like my little smaller one-person tent that I showed on my last episode. And that's what I was going to talk about, is that was this guy. Again, that tent that I showed last episode can fold up to this. You know, basically like a... I mean, this is, you wouldn't eat this. This would be way too much to eat, but this is like a extremely large burrito. But, you know, mysteriously, you know, right after last stream, I'm packing up my tent. I'm packing this guy up after last campsite we were at. And mysteriously, it breaks. Wouldn't you know? After I talked about how reliable and durable it was for like 3 years for me, breaks. Didn't do anything crazy, just calmly, normally disassembling it. Thing, you know, one little part of it breaks. So I do have a backup. I literally have the exact same one as a backup. This is my dad's tent. Again, I'll use it, just in like special moments. Like I really like this tent site, and so I just was feeling like wasn't too windy, so functionally it's easy to set this tent up, but also I kind of want to spend this weekend, you know, tenting with my dad in his tent at this beautiful, just truly beautiful, no one really around campsite other than people maybe driving or walking by this street. But my go-to tent is my go-to tent. I have a backup, but what I was gonna say, I'll get on with it, is I kind of had this feeling as that broke, I was like, oh, that probably might be a God thing, right? Prayed on it and had that thing of just maybe this is a tent that's destined to be in the hands of someone else. And as we talked about last stream, I'm just feeling this call and I'm feeling this pull to, as I'm journeying, as I'm traveling, as I'm walking through cities, to help the homeless. I do think this is where, I won't say that. I'm praying on it still. We're meditating on it. We're patient. We're being obedient. You know, we're gonna, you know, be patient with this, but I think God might be leading me here. I think this might be what it is, you know, make me homeless so that I can like better serve the homeless. But we'll see. When I do my little walking around the cities late at night, doing my sticker thing, I am going to try to find someone that I can give this away to. I'm also going to start maybe putting some cans of soup in my bag so I can like give them away to people on the street. Because I do encounter these people on the street, and I wish, like I said last time, that I was a little more equipped to bless them, just even with a little can of soup or $20 bill or maybe a tent, you know, that they can use. So we'll see where this all ends up going and spiraling and avalanching into, you know. Maybe this will just really turn into me doing a giant homeless ministry thing. Maybe it's just, you know, a couple days, a couple random nights, a couple random acts of kindness. We'll see where this goes. We'll see where God takes this, you know. But since the last stream, I did go to Bloomington, Indiana, and that's where I was thinking this. That's where all this was happening, because in Bloomington, Indiana, which is really rad. Bloomington, Indiana was really, really rad town. I was really like, man, I could totally live here. This is beautiful. Kind of has everything you need. Not too big, not too small. Really hip, really cool. Definitely, like, the community definitely cares about itself, you know. And we'll get into that when we talk about Cincy here in a second. But the homeless, man, there was so many homeless in Bloomington, like just way more, like disproportionately way more homeless walking around and just sitting around, standing around, not even like tent encampments everywhere, just them just sitting on benches, standing. Bus stops are just like full, you know. It was a sight, man. And so that's what I was kind of thinking, is like maybe I need to be coming to towns like this with tents and cans of soup and maybe little New Testaments and what have you, to kind of evangelize to, or help, or bless, or, you know, hey man, can I help you with something, you know, kind of thing. So we'll see where this all takes you. We'll stay tuned and we'll keep you updated. Stay tuned. I'll keep you updated on what ends up happening with that, where we end up taking this all. But yeah, we'll talk about Cincinnati. Yes, I like Cincinnati. Is like the coolest, best city that seems to be inhabited by like the worst people. And I don't, hear me out on that. Hear me out. I don't mean that. That sounded harsh. That sounded bad. Hear me out on this, okay? Because the city is so cool. It's all these really beautiful brick buildings, these brick skyscrapers, these brick tall buildings, these, you know, you can just tell like the city itself from like 1920 to like 1980 was just booming. And it was probably on its way to being like the best city in the country. And something happened, man. I'm wondering if there was like a conspiracy or something. Like something happened where they like stopped the progress of that city, you know. Because it's like wild and it's crazy. It's I made a little video. I might post it. I was debating whether I post it or not. So I guess you can see it on my YouTube channel or Rumble channel. Maybe it'll be like a little side video in addition to these episode streams. And I guess I just will post that. So go hear the full rant about that, and we'll talk. We're going to talk about more of that later here on this stream too. We'll get into it later, but yeah, it was just a wild city because it wasn't even really, unlike Bloomington, which was very well. It was very clean, very well maintained. You know, there's a lot of graffiti and stickers, but they were like cool, artistic. You know, it was like the city cared. You could tell it was like the city and the people cared about itself, but a lot of homeless, but also not a lot of trash. Surprisingly for a college town, not a lot of trash laying around. Now compare and contrast that to Cincinnati, which was like a really cool city, but like gross graffiti, like dicks on the wall, like vulgar phrases, like literally like, you know, murder, kill you on the graffiti on people's businesses walls, you know, trash everywhere, just vacant lots with like crumbling buildings just laying there, trees and overgrowth, you know. It was just weird because it was like a city, but then it, and like I'll just post the other video and you can see. So just to see with your eyes what I'm talking about in the video I'll post on my channel. But it just is this weird thing because like one block would be like boarded up and almost like scary. Like it looks like a scene out of The Wire. It's like definitely drug deals happening, like sketchy people, boarded, like trash everywhere. And then the next block, I'm not kidding when I say like 50 feet away, is like hipster cool. All the brick buildings have been like, you know, done up and fixed and gentrified. And it just is a wild contrast. And I was trying to put my finger on it. I was thinking as I was driving through the city and walking around, it just was a lack of care. And we're going to talk about that on the stream, but you could just tell like people just didn't care about their neighbor, about their fellow man, right? Who cares? I'll just throw trash on the ground. Who cares? Haha, I'll just draw a dick on this guy's building. And just, you know, it's just there. Gross, you know, you could just tell like, you know, people there, you know, might not be from there, might not have much connection to the, you know, might not have many like roots planted, and just, you know, no effort, no investment really in the community itself, because you can just tell like people aren't keeping it clean. They're not maintaining things. They're not like taking pride in, hey, there's a deer. Can you see on my glasses? Way back there, beyond my computer. Do you see it right there on the street? Yeah, crossing the street. There's a deer. Maybe he'll walk over here. But yeah, just the video, just, I won't rant twice. go check the clip. Link in the chat or whatever or something. I don't even know how to do all that stuff. But I was gonna talk, speaking of the deer that's potentially walking over here. I did want to talk about animals. I've been talking and thinking a lot about animals lately, and one of the things was, one of the things is literally at my campsite here. So I pull up, I get all my things ready, get my tent unpacked, you know, get my wood ready, logs ready, and there's just these ants everywhere, man. These black, you know, the big boys, like the big black ants. And they're just everywhere, all over around me, right? And I was running some errands, I was driving around, checking out the area, and getting ready for the stream. Coming back, and just had that craving, man. The best donuts in the world. Don't judge me right now. But the best donuts, the hidden gem, the diamond in the rough, you'd never expect it. But the best donuts in the world are maple glazed donuts from Walmart. And if you are too good, if you're an elitist and you're too snobby to go shop and eat Walmart food, I don't care. If you like donuts, go out of your way one day to Walmart. Go to that little bakery section, all buy the bread, all the calories, all the carbs, and treat yourself one day to the maple glazed donuts from Walmart. They are the best donuts in the world. The other ones are like whatever. It's just Walmart food. Chocolate donut, fine. There's a point to this. Hear me out. There's a point to all this. So I just have this craving. I'm like, dude, I just want like one or two of those maple donuts. I had to go to Walmart, get a couple things, right? Get a couple, you know, soap, clippers, you know, all that kind of beard trimmer thing. And man, that craving hit, and I walked all the way to the other side of that Walmart, you know, all the way from the home section where I was getting the clippers and the soap. I walked my fat butt all the way to the other side of that Walmart, all the way to the bread section to get myself some maple donuts. And wouldn't you know it, the only things they have are like full giant boxes of like, you know, assorted dozens and six, you know, assorted half dozens. And I'm like, dude, I just want one, maybe two of these. And so, of course, the least amount I can do is buy a 6-pack, 6 donuts, 2 chocolate, 2 vanilla, 2 maple. So I buy that box. I'm like, all right, whatever. They're cheap. It's Walmart. It's like $4. And that's my thing, you know. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just eat the 2 maple. That's fine. And I'll find someone to give these donuts to. I'm driving around town. The town I'm in doesn't really have people around it. Unlike Cincinnati, just kind of laying around, sitting around. Can't find anyone to give the donuts to. I get back to this site. I'm going to throw them in the trash can. And then I have the bright idea. I'm going to negotiate with these ants. I'm gonna do a little thing. If you want to, let's check me out over here. Let's see if my mic can follow. I was like, you know what? I have a bright idea. I'm gonna keep these ants away from me. I'm gonna peace treaty with these ants. And so what did I do? I threw that donut over. And these bad boys should be occupied right here with the donut that I'm not eating, obviously, especially now. Over here is one of the chocolates. Over there, another chocolate. So my plan is, I will, on the outskirts of my little campsite, I will be with the ant colonies, with the ant tribes, and they can gorge. Dude, look at them. They are super maxing right now. Like, they are passed out just in heaven. Just on that frosting. Look at that. Man, they're like feasting right now. Like, let them eat cake, feasting right now. Passed out. You're welcome. So my theory is, hey, I'll give you guys donuts. All you can eat buffet for the next couple days. Just stay away from my table and stay away from my tent and stay away from my truck. So that's me, you know, over here like making contracts and peace treaties with ants. That's me. Animal rant. So that's leading into that's aspect one of this, right? This is my mindset where I'm like, you know what? I can just like I can negotiate, trade them. I'll put an all-you-can-eat buffet over there, and they're gonna be smart enough and wise enough to like go accept my offer. And in exchange, meet my terms and conditions and leave me alone. You know, as if, right? I foolishly have that mindset and that philosophy. And there was another night also in my dad's house, as I'm wrapping up, like boxing up all of his things, packing all of his things up, packing all my things up, relocating all my stuff back to Nashville, getting myself ready to take this journey, this trip. As I'm wrapping up, the last month I was there, mice showed up. And I saw one day. I was walking through the kitchen. It was like almost sundown. It was one of those things, like I walked through the kitchen and I was like, man, I forgot something. And I turned around real quick. And right when I turned around, I looked down, and in the kitchen I saw something just beeline along the refrigerator and then make that 90-degree turn and turn in between the wall and the refrigerator, you know? So it was one of those like movements that was so like deliberate, where it wasn't just, I was kind of like in denial. I was like, maybe that was a shadow in the corner of my eye. Maybe I'm imagining something, you know? But the movement was such like a scurrying, precise thing, you know? So I just prayed and I pleaded, and I literally was in my dad's house like, dude, just go away. Don't let me see you. Don't poop anywhere. And I just won't. I'll pretend like I didn't see you. You know, I'll pretend like you don't even exist. I'll pretend like that didn't even happen. I'm negotiating with this mouse in my house, you know. So then a couple weeks passed and I actually didn't see it, didn't hear it. And then I'm sitting there one day and it totally came in the room, saw me sitting there, freaked out, turned and ran away. And that's the second when I just grabbed my phone and I was like, man, I got to do it, you know. Got to get the mouse traps, the glue traps, got to get rid of these things before I leave my dad's house. You know, I just can't leave a mouse infestation to just run wild in my dad's house with all this stuff there after I've left, you know. But it was like paining me. It was painful, man. It is like, I get it. It's nature. It's a dumb little mouse, whatever. But it still is like they're cute little mice. So I'm like putting these mice traps out with peanut butter on them, and just, you know, every night is just boom, boom, boom. I end up killing the whole family. all 6 mice, I think it was 5 mice and 6 nights. And, you know, and then now they're just gone. I just don't see them. There's no evidence of them anymore. They're all cleared out. And each time, you know, having to take that trap and that dangling, cute little gray mouse that's just dead. And the eyes are still open and they're looking at you. Like, mister, please don't. I have a family. Please don't, mister. I have a family. But it's too late. He's already it's just snapped neck. You know, it's just already dead there. And you have to take it outside. I was like putting it out, and you know they were disappearing pretty quick. So I think birds were coming and swooping them up. But that's it. That's nature. That's life. And if I don't kill it, someone else will, or it will die eventually. You know, like, so it's not like, oh, poor me, I don't want anything to die, and you're all sappy. But it just is like there is that like uncomfortableness of myself being like a born and raised city boy, where I'm not really comfortable with like death and killing, right? And it's like I do have this instinct to like want to like. Mice, just leave, just go outside the house and I don't have to kill you. If you stay in the house, you're gonna die, but you could also just leave. I want to ration. I want to explain to it like, hey guys, come here, team meeting real quick. Gather around, mice that have taken up residency in my dad's house, gather around. Here's the deal, just leave. I'm gonna open the door. I'll give you like a jar of peanut butter. You guys can just feast for a month. I'll throw seeds out for you. Just go outside the house, you know? But you can't. They're just animals. Like, they can't. They just run on instinct. They just run on their nature. Like, they don't have comprehension, right? They don't have consideration for their neighbor. They only have consideration for food and sex, right? Their own needs, their own selfish pleasures. They don't have care for their fellow neighbor. But you want them to. But you just so badly want them to, right? Can I say the right thing? Can I say the right combination of words and convince them to care, to be considerate, to negotiate with me, to just leave? Just leave. I don't want to kill you. Just leave. But some animals are just beyond, you know, our scope. Their lives and their well-being and their state of being is just out of our hands. It's not up to us. It's out of our control, right? And we have to accept that. We have to be good with that. It's all in God's plan. It's all in God's timing. It's all His creation. And it is like an uneasy feeling, not knowing, just in general, not knowing. Like, just not understanding the plan, not seeing the bigger picture, not like, I don't know, being fully aware of the depths of what's going on and, you know, seeing where the path that you're in right now leads to. It's an uneasy feeling. It's an undesirable feeling. We want to know. We want the spoiler. We want the spoilers, even though we say we don't, right? And we also it's also like uncomfortable having to change, but like yourself having to change, but also having to change others or wanting to change others. Like both of those things, like you selfishly are going to want to change others, right? And you can't. I selfishly want to convince the ants to just stay over there. Like, bro, there's a donut there. There's a donut there. There's 4 donuts. Chocolate, vanilla, full of sugar. I set them out for you. You and your homies, man, for the next 3 days. Just leave me alone. Just all you can eat these donuts for me, bro. But they don't. They can't listen. I can't change them. I can't control them. Like, they are beyond and out of my reach and my scope. And I can do things like that. I can lead them there. I can put something desirable there and, you know, I can affect them and convince them to change their path and go seek the donut, but I can't force them. I can't force them to do that. I can't keep them there. I can't, you know, make them, you know, there's a lot of things that I can't control about that situation, even though I can try. I can put 4 donuts out in strategic locations, you know. Yeah, the other thing I didn't mention was, dude, and it was so harsh, but I was driving a country road. Where was this? In Missouri. Yeah, I was in Missouri. We were in northern Missouri. It was late at night. It was like when it was a small country road. You know, I was off the interstate. Middle of nowhere, no one around, no cars. It was like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning or something. And out of nowhere, dude, and it was just like, it was so, I just didn't know what to do. I wanted to stop, but I couldn't. There was nowhere to stop. It was just country roads. Like, there was literally no streets for just miles, like 10 miles, 20 miles. And I don't even know what they were. I think they were possums. They might have been armadillos. They might have been raccoons. But these things kept, you know, you could just see the 2 little eyes. Like, as I'm driving and my lights are just catching on the side of the road, you know, these 2 little eyes, boop, 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 just popping up in the weeds, like in the tall grass on the side of the roads as I'm driving by. Just so many. I mean, literally like something out of like a horror movie or something, you know, all these little eyes. And dude, they started running, and they just kept, as I'm driving, like, they're fine. You know what I mean? Where they are in this grass on this side of the road, they're fine. I'm going to just drive right by. But they just get this instinct of like fight or flight, and they run. They think I'm coming after them. And so they run across the street in an attempt to escape me. And now I'm like running over them because they're not fast enough to actually beat me. And dude, it kept getting so close, and I was like, and I slowed down, and I was really trying to be aware. And there was just there was a few too where I was like stopping and kind of letting them pass. They just kept stupidly, dude. I kept just being like, God, why are you so dumb? Stop. Just don't run. Just don't cross the street. Just stay where you are. You're fine. I'm going to pass you. I'm going to leave you. Just don't cross the street. Just stay put. Just stay put. Fight or flight. Just fight. Just stay put. Just sleep. Just fight, flight, or pause. Choose the pause option, right? Let me pass. But they kept going, man, and one just, it was brutal. It was brutal. Just turned, saw the 2 eyes. It panicked. It crossed the street. I didn't have time to slow down, and it was just, my left tire just went ba-boom, and my back tire went ba-boom. And again, I don't even know if it was like an armadillo or a raccoon or a possum, but I know it's dead. I know it's in the middle of the road somewhere dead. And I just drove away thinking like, dude, I just want to tell them, just don't cross the road. Just fight that instinct to just not cross the road, and you're perfectly good. You're perfectly fine where you are, And again, it's just these animals, man. Quote unquote animals. Whatever animals they were. Some animals, they just can't care. They just can't be reasoned with. They just are kind of beyond saving. And that same thing goes with humans. Same thing apparently goes with humans, Jesus tells us that over and over again. Some are just lost. Some are, most people are going to choose the wide road through the wide gate that leads to damnation and destruction, And only a few are going to choose that path. Only few are going to see the light. Only few are going to choose salvation. Only few are going to be able to see and comprehend and choose to trust their God in a moment of panic, and not themselves and their own instincts, their own animalistic instincts, to cross that road thinking that they will save themselves, and instead running right into the path of death and destruction, So yeah, man, that was a deep night. That was a freaky night. But I was just thinking of this animal stuff, man, and it was hard to not also think of it as, you're in Bloomington, Indiana, and Cincinnati, and you're seeing these people in the streets, and they're people. They're God, they're people. Every single one of them has a soul. Every single one of them is God's creation, made in his image. Every one of them is valuable. Every one of them is deserving of love and appreciation and salvation. But it's hard to not think of them as animals in that same context, because they just don't care. They just throw trash in the street. They just graffiti inappropriate stuff on walls, and they just don't even care. They just threaten people and steal from people and hurt people, and they don't care about it. They don't care about the consequences. Literally those literally those animals, you're not going to lead them to Christ. But the animals, The lost souls that just, the people, the humans that just run on instinct and just however they feel in the moment. They're not thinking about future consequences. They're not thinking of, they're not holding themselves accountable to their actions in the moment. They're thinking about what is good for them right now. The pleasures, the ease, the comfort, the security that is in this moment right now trumps whatever happened in the past and whatever is going to happen in the future. And, like human beings, like God made us to not do that. Yes, he wants us to like be still and know him, live in the present, like be still in the present moment and be with him. Don't have the anxiety of thinking about the future and being hung up on what happened in the past or what will happen in the future. But also that's what separates us from animals, right? That's the difference between a literal animal and like a human being. And a human being that's acting like a quote unquote animal is someone that has started to act more like that. They just act on the instinct. They act on how they feel in the moment, and they don't consider others. They don't consider what their actions are doing and causing, and I guess what they're causing others, the harm they're causing others, the benefit they're causing others. They're not considering truly what their personal actions are doing to others. It's only simply like that narcissistic, selfish drive for me at all costs, despite whatever, despite the litter on the ground or the effect on the environment, despite whatever, insert all the socialist buzz points here about capitalism bad, but that is true. There's a lot of truth to those complaints because it is true. Like you stop considering your fellow man and you start just acting on that selfish instinct to just have stuff and have pleasure and have security and have a long life. And I want time, I want to feel good for as long as possible. And that's just that animalistic instinct that leads you to not be compassionate for your fellow man or considerate for your fellow man. It leads you to just throw trash on the ground. But yeah, I wish I could, you wish you can change their minds, but you're not going to change these animals' minds. You're literally not going to change an animal's minds. You're almost always never going to change, these humans that are acting so animalistic, whatever race or social class they're in or gender they belong to, these animalistic, pleasure-seeking, selfish-minded people, self-worshiping people, not God-worshiping people. They are prideful, they are selfish-minded, they are about themselves at all costs, despite what the effect is on other people. Those quote-unquote animals, those animalistic people, the Nebuchadnezzar from the Bible, those people also, like, you just can't reason with them, and you can't change their minds. And as much as you want to, as much as like that person might be like a former friend or a family member or a coworker or someone you just, gosh, I just cheer for them, man. I like them. Like there's likable things about them. Or I used to really get along with them, or they're my family, so of course I want to get along with them or be good with them and have a good relationship with them. But there's just animals, man, you can't change. You can't change their instincts. You can't change their habits no matter what you do. And at a certain point, you need to just move on. At a certain point, you need to just accept that, like, you can't change them and that, like, life happens. Crap happens, So it goes, as Vonnegut used to say, so it goes. Like, the circle of life happens. Nature occurs. Like, the chaos, the organization, that cosmic dance of chaos and order, and that is nature existing around us, like, it's all just happening. It happens. We have to deal with it. We can wish it away. We can say how much we don't like it. We can be in a disagreement of the outcomes, We can not like it. We can really not like that. Like, why did that animal have to cross that road? Why did those mice have to pick my dad's house? Why? It's not fair. But they did. And you got to man up and you got to get rid of the mice, or else they eat everything in the house. They eat the paper. They crap everywhere. They spread disease. You got to kill the mice. It's not fair, but you got to get rid of them. The possum in the road. Yeah, it's not fair, but I mean, come on, man. You could have just not been as dumb and stupid. You could have just not crossed the road, bro. You know what I mean? It's not fair. I don't want him to. I want him to change his mind, but out of instinct, out of habit, that's just the way that animal is, and that's what happens to that animal. You know what I mean? And God is not fair. Look around, look at nature, look at all these animals, look at the literal animals, look at the quote-unquote animalistic humans I'm talking about, who I once was, by the way. Don't think I'm this high and mighty guy that's pointing my finger out like, I'm this elitist, righteous person that has everything figured out. It's like, I was literally that animal for 28 years. So I know. I was the animal that chose to overcome and choose God and choose a righteous path, even if it's more difficult, you know. Even if it's not pleasurable, even if it's not self-serving, even if it is requires sacrifice, you know what I mean? That is the path that's not animalistic. The path that goes, I'm going to do the right thing, not the thing that gives me pleasure right now in this moment, you know? That whole allegory or whatever of like the monkey that reaches its hand in the box for the banana or for the food, and it can't let go, you know? It can't comprehend that, like, you know, it's going to literally... It cannot let go of that banana because it wants that banana, and it cannot comprehend that, like, its hand is now stuck in the box because of its appetite, because of its selfishness. It can now no longer get its hand out of that box, and it'll literally starve to death being stuck in that box, you know, because it cannot comprehend the fact that maybe sometimes the momentary relief of that food right now in this moment, this food, this fast, easy, accessible food, tasty food right here in front of my face right now in this moment, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe I just need to let go and get my hand out of the box this time so that I can go over there and fight another day and live another day. But an animal will put its hand in the box and go, I want the food. I want the stuff. I want the security. I want, me. And it'll hold on to that banana and be unable to get its hand out of that box because it's unable to think about long-term goals, long-term missions, you know, the effects that their behavior and their actions have on others, or just their long-term prospects. Like, where are you going to end up in eternity, you know? These people don't think like that. They're unable to think about that. But they do have the chance. With Jesus Christ, all are offered salvation. All are given a chance to repent. All are given a chance to believe and confess and come to Christ. That's the beauty of it, is even these animalistic people that, again, I used to be one, like me, can see Christ, can encounter Christ, and can absolutely change their life and turn away from themselves and that selfish life. And they can turn away from that desire and that instinct, that selfish instinct that says, I'm in control, I'm in charge, I'll take care of myself, I'll save myself. And you just, one day you see Christ and you realize, you know what, I'm not perfect. I've screwed up. I've made mistakes. I'm a bad person and I need salvation. And Jesus Christ is that salvation. And he's offering it to me, even though I don't deserve it, because he offers it to all. And all don't deserve it. And all of us have that opportunity to let go of that banana and go fight another day and go off into the eternity of all the bananas we could ever want, you know, in the eternity with Christ in his home. But to conclude all that, I mean, all of that is beautiful because God is not fair, right? Because things are not fair, it's like, it hurts us at times, right? It's painful. We don't like it. Like, the injustice of the world. Some people are rich, some people are poor, some people are healthy, some people are sick. Like, I could keep going, you know, like just start doing the Sermon on the Mount. Like, life is unfair, dude. But also that's beautiful. Because if God was fair, if God was truly just and really, truly fair in the truest sense of that word, that wouldn't be good for you or for me, a sinner, a degenerate, an animal, a former animalistic man, animal guy that we've been talking about. If God was fair, I wouldn't get a second chance. I wouldn't keep getting more chances. I wouldn't, as I sinned yesterday, be forgiven and have another chance today to repent and seek to turn away from that sin going forward. If God was fair, then I wouldn't have a second chance to keep, or a third chance, or a fourth chance, or a fifth chance to keep trying to overcome this sin that I'm struggling with. The sins that I'm struggling with in my life. You know what I mean? And if God was fair, boy, oh boy, would that be bad news for me, right? That would be very bad news for me. That'd be very bad news for you, I'm sure, you out there listening and watching. But God is not fair, and that is the good news. That is the gospel. That is the good news, that you are forgiven. That despite whatever you've done, despite how gross and disgusting you've been in your life, despite how you keep lying and cheating and doing bad things, wishing evil upon your neighbor, wanting revenge, being prideful, being lustful, seeking for yourself, at the expense of others, littering, graffitiing bad things on walls, whoever you are, whatever you've done, the good news, the gospel, the good news is that God is not fair and that he offers you salvation for your many sins. So you out there, if you're one of those animals and you're getting offended, how dare you? How dare you? Just know God's waiting for you still. Yeah, let's do the, let's check the battery, but what's the first journey update? Yeah, we're in day 21 of the journey. I am at a 14 out of 21 success rate. So again, I've been tracking this every day. I have to do 6 things every day, or else it doesn't count, or else I don't get to check the box. Those 6 things are: every day I must pray, I must read the Bible. I force myself to read at least 2 or 3 chapters every day. Otherwise, I don't get to check that box. I have to also hydrate, be hydrated up on water, like for real. Not lying and cheating like I have been, and like drinking Gatorade and pretending like I'm hydrating, I also have to exercise a decent amount, a significant amount, 3 miles, 5 miles, or like lifting weights. I also have to be social in some capacity with other human beings, in real life, not on my phone or not in telephone, but literally having conversations socially with people in real life. And I also have to be creative in some capacity. So like this right now, today, me doing this is me being creative today. Writing, making art, whatever. So out of the 21 days so far, I have done 14 successfully, all 6, checked the box on that, and need to do better. That's good. That's decent. That's a good start, but I want to be perfect, right? I want to seek to be perfect as Christ was perfect. And so a big thing the next few weeks is I'm really needing to step that being hydrated up. I've been exercising very well, but my diet, my hydration has not been up to par, up to where I want it to be. So we are going to be improving in that regard, my dudes. And praying and reading, there's just days. There's days where I pray, but I don't read. There's days where I read and don't pray. There's days where I do both and don't do both, But again, I just need to be perfect. It needs to be no excuses, no matter what, every day. I need to be coming to you next time and being like, hey, I was 7 for 7 since my last stream, So that's the goal. That's the update. That's where we're at. We're also practicing patience and joy in all circumstances. And boy, is that easier said than done. Oh boy, is that easier said than done, All circumstances of your life, can you be thankful for what's happening to you, and can you be joyful? Not faking a smile, or not letting someone see you be angry, but honestly having joy in your heart during every moment of your life, including the bad times, the hard times, the painful times, the heartbreaking times, the disappointing times, the unfair times. Can you have joy consistently in your heart? Because, hey, Christian man, Christ says, do it. Christ calls you to do that. So are you doing it? Am I doing it? If I'm being honest, there's been drama in my family over the last few months that's going to probably escalate and pick up more. Yeah, there's times where I'm not joyful in that. There's also times where I am. I'm like, oh man, some people are just pathetic, and it's almost like funny. But yeah, it's not fun when your family's fighting and there's disunity going on in your life, just in your life, whether it be people in your work, people in your family, people in your friend group, people in your church, disunity between the people in your life. And you're kind of either stuck in the middle of it, or you're just like by default a participant in it all because you're in the group itself. You exist in this, in the sphere, in that garden of people, that garden of influence. can you have joy through it all? It's not easy when it's like when everyone's having disunity to still be joyful through it all and to see that there's probably something good that was going to result out of this, you know, as the fighting's happening, as the drama's happening, as you're crying, as you're hurting, as you're angry. But especially my biggest problem, my biggest battle right now in my life is traffic, because I am driving so much. And I do get on highways and I do get on small country roads and I do go through small towns and big cities, and boy, oh boy, is traffic so miserable. And each city and each state is different, and everyone has different habits and quirks. You know, trucks on highways are a different kind of annoying than like cars in cities. But it's so frustrating. So frustrating. And I drive fast, but I drive defensively. I drive smart. And I drive fast. I don't go crazy. There's people who are like, whoa, all right, bro, you want to take it? I'll move over and let you pass me. Like, if you're going to go fast, and you want to ride my butt or whatever, like, I'm not joining you in that, you know. But I'm definitely going 5 or 10 over the speed limit. I'm absolutely going 5 or 10 over the speed limit. And being sinful in that regard and disobeying the Bible, which says obey your authorities and obey the laws. You know, I am guilty of that. I do speed. But I don't drive stupid. And there's so many people that just drive so stupid, man. To the point of, and this is the whole point of this rant, like this is what's been on my mind so much because of primarily traffic. And I just think, like, do people care? Do they know? Like, are they just stupid? Like, when someone passes, when you're behind someone, when you're on a two lane highway, okay, we've all been here. I'm going to tell these examples. You've all been here. You know what I'm talking about. I know you can feel my pain on some of this, or most of this. But you're on a highway. You're driving. And you're going like the speed limit, maybe a little bit faster than the speed limit, and you're in the left lane. And the car in front of you is just going the same speed as the car in the right lane. So you now have 2 lanes that are just going the same speed. And even if you're not trying to be going like crazy, you still just want to like pass. You don't want to be in the passing lane. But the car that's going the equal same amount as the right lane in the left lane is just now causing a traffic jam. And I always wonder, like, is that person stupid? And I don't mean that in like a mean way, like, haha, that is kind of funny. Like, oh, bro, come on, bro. What are you, stupid? What do you got, a case of the stupid? What are you getting stupid on me here, bro? Come on, bro. Stop being so stupid. Stop being such a dum-dum, you know? But, like, truly, are they stupid? Like, are they not aware? Maybe not stupid, like literally dumb, but like, are they just not aware of their surroundings? Like, they don't understand the situation that they're causing, that by not passing and just going the same speed, there's now behind them like a line of cars that are like, you can say like, oh yeah, they're jerks and they want to drive fast, so screw them, who cares, they can wait. But it legitimately does cause, because those people are going to start to ride each other's butts. Those people are going to start to like try to pass dangerously. Those people are going to start to like be more dangerous and more risky and really like start riding people's butts, being like, come on, let's go. And you either being stupid or being unaware of the situation, or being like spiteful, being like, yeah, I'll make them wait. I'll drive the same speed and they can drive that same speed. I'll make them wait. No matter what the situation is in that person's head, what that person's doing is like causing problems. He's literally causing like people to drive more dangerously. He's causing a potential for a giant wreck. Like, he's also just annoying people. He's also just disrupting the flow of traffic. You know, he could just get over. If he wants to go the same speed as the right lane, you could just get over in the right lane. But I keep thinking, like, are these people, and I'm sure it's not just black and white. It's like everyone's not just stupid. Everyone's not just, you know, not aware or paying attention. Everyone's not just a jerk or envious or spiteful or whatever. You know, I'm sure it's a mixed bag and there's various, you know, causes or whatever. But the end result is problems. The end result is people aren't as safe on the road. Like, the end result is legitimately like, I am annoyed. Okay, whatever. Just my little selfish gripe. I can forgive you, brother. I'll forgive you, and I'll try to be thankful for the circumstance and try to find joy in the circumstance, you know? I'll, in my truck, as I grip the steering wheel, and I try not to curse at you. Come on! Just get over! What are you doing? And I gotta just pray, and Lord, help me forgive this man. You know, he knows not what he does. But does he? Does he know not what he does? Is it stupidity? Like, are people just dumb and they don't? And that's kind of stupid people are like on the road with us, like on the highways with us, like passing, going like 80 miles an hour in and alongside us and with us and between us. It's kind of scary if people are like actually that stupid. And I think they are, and it kind of is uneasy. The more I drive around, especially when you get in cities, you really starts being like, man, I think people are just stupid. Like the things they do in cities really is just like stupidity, I think. And that's kind of scary because you're like, I'm sharing the road with these people. Like pedestrians are sharing the road with these people, you know. But then the same thing with the awareness. I mean, that is just scary too, that people aren't really, I mean, if you're operating a vehicle on a highway going 70, 80 miles an hour, you should be aware of your environment. You should be aware that like there's kind of consequences to me being dumb right now or unaware of the situation right now, you know. And if you're being spiteful and vengeful and hateful, then just screw you, bro. Your selfishness, your wanting to get back at somebody is causing problems for not just maybe one or two people you're trying to get back at, but like your community, the road, you know. And so yeah, so needless to say, I've been having these thoughts and I've been lingering on the traffic rant for weeks now that I'm like just dealing with it, you know. But it does all come back to that core concept of just, do people care? Like, do you care? Do people care? Who cares, man? Because I look around at the roads and it's like no one cares. And I go to Cincinnati and there's just trash everywhere. And it's like, dude, no one cares. There's just like all these weeds everywhere no one's pulling, and just people standing around dealing drugs. Cops not doing anything about it. And it's just like, does anyone care? This is like a big, beautiful city with all these big, beautiful historic buildings. And it's just like all these masses of people that just don't care. They don't care about their community. They don't care about their fellow man. They don't care about God or being righteous. And I'm generalizing, right? I mean, obviously, come on, let's not be stupid here. Obviously, there's outliers. Obviously, I'm not saying everyone in Cincinnati is stupid and doesn't care. But I'm just saying, like, in general, this is permeating too much in society. You know what I mean? This lack of consideration for other people, you know? And so I'm trying to, you know, we'll sit here and we'll complain about this. Hey, you're listening to me whine and complain about this, right? So what are you doing about it, Sean? Well, I am, and I'm going to encourage you, the viewer, the listener out there, my fellow Christian brother, my fellow seeker of the light, God's truth and wisdom, his light and his love, a humble and loyal servant of Christ, our Lord and Savior, who is my brother. I'm encouraging you, I'm calling upon you to join me in just caring more, in just having compassion more for your fellow man and yourself and your life and your environment, the things around you. Like, pick up litter and don't litter. You know, do what you can to just like little things, little drops in the bucket in your community where you can just like care about your community, care about yourself, care about your neighbor. You know, be considerate. Hey, Christian man, be chivalrous, right? Be chivalrous. Show civility to people. Be nice to people. Be thankful to people. Be forgiving to people. Be forgiving to yourself. Be thankful to yourself, right? And be joyful in all these circumstances. Despite how difficult it is when people are cutting you off and being stupid or throwing trash on the ground. And why? You got to be like that. But you, Christian man, need to rise above it. You can't join them. You can't say, well, they're doing it. You can't say, well, you know, I mean, What is it? It's always these excuses, and we'll get into that. I make these excuses. I can sit here and complain about other people making X, Y, and Z excuse, but I make excuses for myself in my own life, you know? But we do this, man. We make these stupid, like, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. Who cares? Who cares that I just, you know, didn't pick up my little piece of trash on the ground? There's a giant, I mean, I'm on these college towns, dude. And you're walking through like the houses, like the college party houses, and the street will just be full of trash. You know, it's just trash all around you in their yards in the street. And then like what I'm, you know, I peel a thing off my sticker. So I have these little like white pieces of paper, and sometimes they fly off in the wind. Like sometimes I legitimately, like I'm peeling the paper off the sticker and it goes flying. And I could easily look around at all the trash laying around and go like, who cares? Whatever. What's the big deal? My little piece of paper that just flew off into that person's yard, that's not my yard, that I just littered right now. I didn't mean to, like the wind kind of blew it out of my hands. How easy is it? And how many of you, and how often have I in the past, excused that away and just said, you know what, whatever. Who cares? There's trash everywhere. Everyone else is doing it. My little piece of paper isn't even as big as all the other trash in the area, you know? Who cares? What's the big deal? I'll just, you know, yeah, whatever. I'm doing a pretty good job of not littering and getting all my sticker trash into trash cans. Who cares about that one little piece that got away? But you need to care. You need to care. When everyone else doesn't care, you, Christian man, need to be the righteous one who does. You need to be the one on a mission to be righteous and do the right thing, even when it's difficult, even when it's not fair. Let's keep talking about how things aren't fair, right? It's not fair that this yard and all these people in this whole community and all these college kids and whatever just throw trash everywhere in the streets. But you still need to not join them. You still need to rise above it and have consideration for your fellow man, for your neighborhood, for yourself. You need to not do the wrong thing in that moment that you know is the wrong thing. You need to go out of your way, bend over, pick up your trash. You don't need to necessarily go pick up everyone else's trash, but you at least need to be the drop in the bucket that says, I'm not going to add to the trash in this yard. I'm not going to add to the mess in this city. I am going to be the drop in the bucket that does the right thing, that doesn't add to this mess, that cleans up after himself. You know what I mean? I'm going to be the one that says, I care. I am considerate for my fellow man. Even if it's difficult, even if it's unpopular, even if no one is doing it, even your fellow Christians, even your family, your friends, the people at your church, you still need to be a good steward of your life, of God's creation that he's given you and blessed you with that's all around you. Be a good steward of that. Of your temple, your body, of your life, your opportunities, the things in your life, the opportunities you have, the people you get the chance to meet and interact with, the environment you get to enjoy, the lakes you get to experience and stuff. Can you imagine if I just started throwing trash around this lake right now and just being like, whatever, who cares? Someone was going to do it anyways. Or like the trash will end up in like a dump anyways, who cares? And then this beautiful lake gets abused, you know? And then the next person who wants to come enjoy this has to deal with trash everywhere. My trash impacting their life, you know, their well-being. But that is, what was the thing I was going to say about that? Oh, the story. So then here's me. Here's my excuse. Here's me making excuses, and here's my struggle. Here's Mein Kampf. Here's my struggle. My habits, my sins, right? We were talking about this with a friend because I am very clumsy. I drop things all the time. I break things. I knock things over, you know, and I've always been that way. And I don't wear white shirts because they just get stained, because I just spill food on me all the time. I always, whenever I eat food, grab a giant handful of napkins because I just will be messy. I will be messy. I will be clumsy. I will spill food. I will knock things over. I do break things all the time. I try, I say, not to set things on the edge of tables, right? Because I am clumsy and I do knock things over and break things all the time. And so what do? My instinct is to excuse that away as like, well, that's just a bad habit I have. Or like, yeah, I've always done that. I've always been that way, yeah. Like, that's just the way I am. I was born this way. It's who I am. Can't change it. But that excuse is not living up to God's standard. I don't know if it's necessarily a sin or if it's sinful, but it clearly is like not doing the right thing. You are clearly like choosing to not do the right thing. You are choosing to be selfish and lazy and not do what requires a little more work and a little more energy and a little more discipline and a little more awareness, you know, a little bit more care to try to not be clumsy, to plan ahead. Hey, if I know myself and I know I'm a clumsy guy that knocks over when I move my hands, I'm a hand talker. If you haven't noticed, I like to hand gesture. So especially like at a dinner table, if there's glasses of water and we're talking and we're getting riled and I knock a glass of water over, which happens a lot, that's on me. And I don't get to say, oops, silly me, I'm clumsy. I know you might do that out there. I know I've done that a lot in the past. I know that's like a human instinct to be like, oh, well, that's just the way I am. I'm just real clumsy. Oopsies. But that's not. I mean, that is on you. Because you need to know better. You need to at the very least, know yourself and know your flaws and know how to adjust the environment around you to limit yourself and limit the amount of mistakes you'll make. If you know you're a clumsy guy and you know you're a hand gesture guy and you know you have a history of knocking water over on tables, you need to start setting the water outside of your reach. You know what I mean? That consideration for yourself, you're not spilling water on your own table. You're not spilling water on people. You know, if you're enjoying the company of others at a dinner table, you need to be considerate of them and not spill water all over the table. And being considerate is like knowing that I am clumsy and I spill water and I need to take the extra step. It might be awkward, it might be weird, it might be, hey, they get to mock me or whatever, but I need to do what is necessary to make sure that my clumsiness doesn't affect and harm other people or myself or my life or my well-being. I need to take the necessary steps to make sure that my clumsiness doesn't negatively affect me or other people or my community, right? Or what? I can just be like, oh, I'm clumsy. I'm an idiot. It happens all the time. I can't change. I was born this way. And that's the sin. The sin isn't that you are clumsy. Like clumsiness, I mean, prove me wrong. Hey, in the chats, if I'm wrong about this, show me the verse, show me the scripture, show me the context. I don't believe clumsiness is a sin. Forgetfulness is a sin. You know, I think laziness and sloth, like actively being lazy, is a sin. But just being like a clumsy guy, yeah, that's not sinful. But me having the mentality of like, I can't change, there's nothing I can do about it, I will always be that way. And therefore I can excuse myself to not work hard and not try to discipline myself or not try to overcome bad habits, change my ways, put in the work necessary, the discipline, the effort necessary to change my behavior. If I'm not doing that and I'm excusing it all away by just saying I was born this way, that's the sin. Just as someone who's LGBT or whatever who says I was born this way. The sin being gay is, the sin itself is, it's a sin. Just like beating a woman is a sin. Just like cheating on your wife is a sin. Just like stealing money from your church is a sin. There's a lot of sins out there. The difference is, what is your view on it? Are you aware that it's a sin? Are you trying to overcome and change? Are you trying to actively not do that sin? Or is your mindset, I'm a sinner and there's nothing I can do about it, so I'll just keep sinning? I sin. I was born this way. I was born like this with these habits and these desires that are bad. I know they're bad. I know it's a sin, but I was born that way. Nothing I can do about it. It's just the way I am. It's just my nature. It's just my habit. And unlike the animals we talked about earlier, we can change our nature. We can change our habits. We can overcome. We can choose to let go of the banana and get our hand out of the box. We don't have to go, I was born this way. I have to do this. My instincts are just to grab that banana and hold on. because I was born with these instincts and these habits that just say, seek for me and myself right now in this moment and feel good and get pleasure and be reassured and have status and stuff and security right now in this moment, here and now. And you can also change. God, unlike animals, gives humans the ability to comprehend, the ability to see the light and choose to go into the light. We have the ability, the good news of the gospel is we have the ability to offer the salvation that is offered to all of us in Jesus Christ. We have the ability to change and be transformed and be born again, be born into a new creation, be transformed into a new creation, set free from the bondage of the chains of sin, right? We don't have to be held down by our bad habits. I don't have to keep being clumsy. I don't have to keep being like an idiot fool that knocks stuff down all the time and ruins my night, ruins my clothes, spills stuff and ruins like the nights of other people, ruins table, breaks things because I go to someone's house and I bumped into a table and broke something. My clumsiness, even if that is who I am and that's how I've always been, there's no excuse for just continuing on in it. If it's a problem, if it's causing me problems, if it's causing others problem, I need to care about myself and others, and I need to be considerate for others and for myself, and I need to actively try to change and overcome that. And we were talking about, the funny example we were talking about this is, there's a shout out, awesome barbecue place in my hometown, Champaign, Illinois, called Porgy's. I think it's a chain. I always thought it was only in Champaign, Illinois growing up. I guess it's a chain and it's other places, but shout out Porgy's. Man, those rib tips are amazing. So good. But we'd go there as a kid, and there was a funny thing. I won't dox him, but a kid I went to high school with, we went one time, and I always used to order, pork sandwiches, and it was always, you could either get the sauce on like the sandwich or on the meat or on the side, right? That's most barbecue places, right? Do you want the sauce on the thing you're eating, slabbered on or poured onto the sandwich or whatever? Or do you want it like in a cup on the side and you can pour your own, Typical, most barbecue places, this is the case at Porgy's. But the funny thing is that my friend one time was like, here's this little cheat code where I know how I can get a little bit more sauce. When he asks, do you want it on the side? You say, yes, can I have it on the sandwich and on the side? And he figured out, and he was so like prideful and he was like gleeful he was getting away with it, He was so happy and proud of himself for getting a little bit of extra sauce. Because if he would have just said, yeah, put it on the sandwich, they would have just taken a ladle and put it on the sandwich. If you say, yeah, I want the barbecue sauce on the side, they just take a ladle and they put it in a cup and give it to you on the side. But if you say both, if you say, yeah, I want it on the sandwich and on the side, then they take the ladle, they put it on the sandwich, they take the ladle and they put it in the cup. And so you get quote unquote double the sauce. You get more sauce. And he was so like proud of himself. Like, yeah, ooh, I'm so smart. I got more sauce for free. And it is like a silly, funny thing. Like even looking back, like it is just so funny, right? Like stealing like an extra scoop of barbecue sauce, that could probably cost that company like 10 cents. I mean, it didn't matter at all to their profit. They probably honestly, like at the end of the week, just dump out buckets full of that stuff anyways, because it's quote unquote expired. It's not like it's stealing, but it's not like it doesn't matter, right? It's not really stealing. The company's not being hurt. My buddy's getting extra joy. It's making him come back. Maybe it's even weirdly, indirectly giving Porgy's more business, because that little thing that my buddy's getting, that little glint in his eye where he's thinking he's getting a deal, maybe that's making him come back more often and then purchase more sandwiches, and so indirectly Porgy's actually might benefit from him thinking he's stealing from them. But at the end of the day, whatever excuse and whatever justification you can come up with, at the end of the day, you're stealing. At the end of the day, you're doing something wrong. At the end of the day, you are like cheating. You're like, hey, I'm going to cheat the system right now. I'm going to selfishly get more than I deserve right now. And who cares about the restaurant? Right? Who cares? And it is true. Like, the restaurant probably doesn't even care. You know, like, I guarantee the restaurant doesn't care. They don't care that a couple people every day get like a little bit extra sauce because they say the right combination of words when they order. But like, as an individual, you should care. You should care about your fellow man. You shouldn't be trying to like sneak and steal extra sauce. You know, you should just pay the extra 25 cents for the sauce or whatever. Do the right thing. Because it seems like it doesn't matter, right? And it truly, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to make a big deal out of like stealing an extra cup of sauce from a barbecue place, right? But it does kind of matter, because that mentality will permeate your life. It'll permeate every decision you make. You're going to keep having that mentality of like, I can get away with it. This is how I am. This is my habit. This is who I am. I'm benefiting from this, and who cares? Who cares what cost it has on other people? Who cares if they even know about it or are okay with it? It's helping me, it's benefiting me, and I can get away with it, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to seek for myself at the expense of others. And that crap adds up. It permeates into your decisions and your behavior in every other aspect of your life. And those decisions add up to slowly destroying and dismantling society and civilization. Like, we're on the verge of societal collapse, civilization collapse, because everyone just collectively just doesn't care. And so throughout the day, all these little decisions where people are just like selfishly and narcissistically choosing for themselves over the right thing to do, over the better thing for the community, it all slowly adds up and slowly leads to like just a beautiful city like Cincinnati decaying into like a slum dog millionaire, a slum hole, hell hole, you know what I mean? It does slowly add up. It's slowly, everyone slowly starts littering, slowly starts abandoning their houses, and they're, leaving the lots empty. And, slowly but surely the city just starts being taken over by just filth and grossness and disgustingness and sin, And just in general, we as like a high trust society start losing that. We start losing what's made this society great, which is like trust in your fellow man. And now everyone's just like trying to get what they can from each other. They're trying to steal as much barbecue sauce as they can, But, they're trying to hold up the traffic because it makes them feel good. Or they're just like holding up traffic because they just don't have the time to even care or consider anyone else around them, But that lack of care and that mentality in general of just like, who cares, needs to end. And it needs to end starting with me, literally. Everything I just said, this whole stream, all these complaints, just know that like I am actively doing something about it. The doing something about it is me, and every little thing I do is actively being considerate of my flaws and my pros, my strengths, my cons, everything. And doing what's good for me, doing what's good for others at all times, doing the right thing for me, doing the right thing for others at all times, despite if it's hurts, if it sucks, if it's unpopular, it's uncool, it's unwanted, We just need to not have society collapse in like the whole death by 1,000 cuts mentality of just constant little things throughout everyone's day of just being inconsiderate towards each other and not having compassion or care for each other or one another, or the consequences that our actions have onto our fellow man. It needs to start with that. So yeah. So we'll pick back up. We just had someone, speaking of people being inconsiderate, we just had a guy drive by as slow as humanly possible in an extremely loud truck, staring me down the whole way. It was kind of weird. So we'll edit that out. We'll edit that out. But we'll conclude. We'll start to wrap up. I bet my battery is going to start to die, but I can sit here and complain all day. I can spend 2 hours on a live stream complaining. But what are you going to do about it? Hey, Christian man, what are you going to do about it? And what I'm going to do about it is slowly but surely seek to overcome and change my bad ways and become more Christ-like, become more righteous, become healthier, become more productive, become better. Every day you wake up today and you go, hey, I'm going to become better and become a better man for tomorrow. Like, I'm going to today do what needs to be done, even if it sucks, even if it's going to the gym and sweating and it hurts and it's painful. I know it's going to be better for me going forward into the future tomorrow. It's going to pay off, right? So it's doing the hard work. It's not making the excuses. Yeah, complain. Yeah, there's things to complain about. Problems exist. And we're not going to find solutions to our problems if no one is bringing up complaints and bringing awareness to the fact that there are problems and they do exist. You need solutions, right? So you need people to complain. You need complaints to be made. But also, we need to get on with like solving it. And even if we can't solve and fix society, we can't win an election or take over political power or something and like force giant societal change, you and I, at least two people, me and you listening and watching this, at least two people out there can like start to change and start to be better. And instead of society dying a slow, miserable, painful, disgusting, degenerate death by 1,000 cuts of lack of care, 1,000 tiny little cuts of inconsideration that eventually just bleeds out the society and collapses the civilization that our ancestors built for us, our fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers built for us and left for us. We can care a little bit about it. We can appreciate it a little bit more. And we can, instead of participating in the death by 1,000 cuts, we can stop. We can stop being participants in the cutting, and we can actually maybe start to heal, maybe start doing something progressive, maybe do something positive, make positive change in at least our own lives, maybe also hopefully in the lives of those around us, right? By being a little more attentive, being a little more aware of how our actions affect them. Be a little more positive, be a little more encouraging, be a little more optimistic, be a little more hopeful, right? Pray for people, ask people how you can help them. I don't have money, man, but can I help you? I have an hour. You want to talk? I'll just listen. Do you need someone to just listen to you, bro? Help people. Be considerate of other people in little ways, just throughout your life, in little small ways throughout your day. If I'm like, hey, I need to stop being as clumsy. I need to read my Bible more. I need to hydrate more. I need to drink more water. So I'm going to have water within reaching distance. I'm also working on being clumsy, so I'm also not going to put my water left unscrewed and open where I can like be clumsy and knock it over. So just little things like throughout your day, be actively engaging in the change you want to see in yourself and you want to see in the world. Be a little less clumsy. Be a little more, I'm going to stop making excuses and drink more water. I'm going to work out. I'm going to check that box today no matter what. Even if the last 3 days I didn't check that box and I failed. And 2 of those days I got 5 out of 6, but I still can't check that box. Today, no excuses. I'm checking that box. Today, I'm going to make the changes necessary. I'm going to make sure I drink this water. I'm going to make sure I go to the gym. I'm going to make sure no matter what, I check that box. And that every day is going to make long-term improvements in your life, and it's going to make long-term improvements in your community. And you might not see it, you might not see the fruit, but there will be good fruit produced by your good works, right? So Christian man, stay with God, stay true to God, and produce good fruit. Be faithful, have faith in your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, give yourself and your heart over to Him, love and serve Him. It's crazy that He's so unfair to give us all a second chance after how gross and bad and degenerate and horrible we all were. To Him, against our fellow man, and against ourselves, against our ancestors. We were so bad and so horrible, and yet He is so unfair enough to give us a chance at salvation and redemption. And we should just reward Him by caring. We should reward Him by caring a little more today and caring a little more tomorrow. Caring a little bit more about ourselves, the creation that we are, made in His image. We should care about ourselves a little more. We should care a little bit more about the thing that God created in His image. We should care about ourselves a little bit more. We should be a little bit more healthy and a little bit more considerate about our bad habits and our bad eating choices or our lack of hydrating, whatever. We need to care about ourselves more. because God cares about us. God made us in his image. He cares about us. We should return that care with care. And we should care about others. And even if you think the world's against you and no one cares about you, and you drive through a city like Cincinnati and I'm like, who even cares? Everyone here is just graffitiing the walls and trashing. And I'm like the old man being like, kids these days, they're just up to no good. These ruffians are making everything gross. But there's still people out there that care. There's still people out there in Cincinnati, despite all of that, despite all the results and the evidence you can look at and be like, look at how much people don't care. There's still a bunch of people in Cincinnati that do care. And hopefully, as much as I can sit here and complain about the state of Cincinnati right now, or the state of society right now, or the state of me right now, the good news is that with care, with me caring, with those people caring, with people caring, and that increasing, more good fruit happens. Things will turn around, dude. Cincinnati will blow up into a big, beautiful, awesome, cool city. Like a hipster haven. But it's going to require sacrifice. It's going to require being unpopular, doing the things that other people around you aren't doing. It's going to take care and consideration for yourself and for others. It's about that time where I feel like I'm just repeating myself too much, so we'll kind of wrap up there, I guess. What was my final thought? My final thought, well, I guess my question is, I guess I was supposed to ask a question. My question was, what do you care about? Do you care? Do you care about yourself? Answer in the chat, like authentically, genuinely in the chat, wherever you're watching or listening to this. Not like gimmicky, like, hey, chat, just to like get me more ratings and reviews, leave some comments. But like authentically, I want to know, do you care? Do you think you're a person that cares truly, like about yourself and about others? And do you care about something greater than yourself? Like, do you care about loving and serving God? Do you care about your wife? Do you care about something that's not yourself truly? And I'm not saying like, let's try to look good for all the people in Sean's chat, or let's, try to make ourselves look cool or whatever. Like, authentically, I want to know, you deep down, be bold enough, be honest enough right now, you listening or watching, to come into my comments, into the chat room right here below this video or this podcast, and be vulnerable and be open and confess to me and to yourself. Confess or else. I don't mean it like that, but I'm just saying, if you want, I'm asking this, I think this could be fun. I think this could be a good experiment. This could be helpful to me and helpful to you and helpful to others, but just let everyone know in the chat, like, do you care about yourself truly with what I've been kind of talking about in that context? Do you care about others? Like, do you actually truly care about others? And do you care about something greater than yourself? God, your community, your job, your purpose, your mission, your ministry. Do you also care about your neighbors, your family, your coworkers truly? Do you care about them? Are you considerate of them? And yourself. Are you taking care of your body, your life, your decisions, your habits, Do you care? And what do you care about? I do want to know in the chat. So let me know, chat. Hey, chat, let me know. But this was the one, I guess I'll wrap it up by just concluding this thought. This was the point of the whole thing too, is the devil's greatest trick is making us think there's no good or there's no hope left in the world. And that is all a lie. The devil's greatest trick is making us think that there's no hope, is making us think that there's nothing good left. The devil's greatest trick is making me drive around Cincinnati and be so judgmental and go, look it, everyone here is just so gross and they don't care and they're so inconsiderate. There's no one good here. And I need to stop and check myself and go, you know what? There's probably tens or hundreds of thousands of really good, hardworking, honest, caring, loving people in this city. And you don't see them and you might not encounter them. The results might not be alive and well everywhere, but they're there. And the devil's greatest trick is to make you look and see and go, man, everything sucks. Man, it's all hopeless. Man, it's inevitable. I'm going to lose. Life sucks. Everything's bad. And that's where the devil wants you, is there, without hope. And you know where God wants you? Full of hope, full of joy, thankful in all the circumstances. Even when things are bad and gross and disgusting, God still wants you in a place where you're full of hope and optimism, if even for the eternal future you have. But regardless, the good things, the good works, the good fruit that's ahead of you in this world. This world isn't just here to suffer and die. You're gonna suffer. Christian man, you're gonna suffer. Life is unfair. Things are gonna be hard. There's gonna be trials and tribulations and struggles and hardships, and things are gonna suck, and you're gonna make mistakes, right? Things are bad, man. Things suck. But don't lose hope. There's always hope in tomorrow. Things suck today. Get through it. Push through it. Grow through it. Learn from it. Hey, you made mistakes. Hey, things were hard. Learn from it so that tomorrow it's not as hard. You don't make as many mistakes, right? Have hope in the future. Go forward in the future knowing that there are good people around you. And even if you don't see them, then you be it. Then you be the good person that you can at least look in the mirror and go, hey, there's at least one good person in my neighborhood. It's me. And you pat yourself on the back. You do that. You are worth it. Gosh darn it, you are good enough. You're talented. You're worth it. And gosh darn it, you are good enough, aren't you? But for real though, I mean, if you look around and I'm like, oh, Cincinnati's so bad. It's like, okay, well then you be good. If you're looking around and you're not seeing good fruit on any of the fig trees that you see around you in your neighborhood, well, how about you go plant a fig tree and you grow it? You go plant a mustard seed that blows up into a giant, mustard plant or whatever. A big giant, the tiny mustard seed allegory where it's tiny, but the mustard plant is enormous. And, your little bit of planting and watering and being faithful and being obedient and nurturing and caring for that plant, being considerate for that plant's needs, that seed's needs, and you watch it grow and bloom and develop into something useful and beautiful, right? And it starts with that little act, and it continues. It starts with a little act of faith, and it continues on the watering, the plant, the sunshine, the care, the consideration is what continues on to make that starting seed, that starting point of faith, grow and bloom into fruit, into something useful for the community, useful for yourself, beautiful to look at. So yeah, we're running out of battery here on all my stuff. We'll wrap up with that. But again, yeah, just don't let the devil trick you into losing hope and thinking that there's not good people. And if you are, then just be good. You do good and you be good. Be good, do good, love and be loved. You do it. I'm doing that. I can complain all I want on a stream about, oh, Cincinnati's gross and there's so many homeless and there's this and there's that and life's unfair and blah, 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 blah. Traffic sucks and my family's full of drama and complain, whine. At the end of the day, I am trying to, albeit not hard enough, and albeit I'm going to try more, harder, better, more tomorrow. I am still trying. I am still putting in the effort and the sacrifice necessary to make the change that I want to see. The change of where I am right now, which is a sinful, imperfect man. And I want to make a change and become more like Jesus, who was perfect, who was sinless. I want to go from the man I was yesterday, and today I want to become a better man and a less sinful man and a more righteous, more godly man today, right now, in this moment. When I turn off this stream and I start reading my Bible and I start praying for others, I start praying over this stream that it reached the right people and it spread the right message to the right ears to hear, right? Today and tonight, I want to be more righteous and get better. I want to change and turn away from who I was and turn into the person I want to become, which is a good person, which is a man who produces good fruit, who cares about his community, who is considerate for his community, who is like his father, who cared for other people and who showed up for other people. That's the man I want to be. That's the man I'm going to become. And that's the man that I want to encourage you to also become and to join me in that journey of whatever it is in your life. Like, you're not on the same journey as me, obviously. I'm crazy. I'm homeless on purpose. I'm a psychopath. I'm stupid. I'm retarded. This is dumb. Don't do this. I hope you're not on the same journey as I am, right? But whatever journey you're on, whatever bad habits you have, like I don't struggle with drinking. Like I am sober and it's easy for me to be sober, but I struggle with lust. I struggle with temptations of like petty theft and telling white lies and being clumsy and being lazy and making excuses and complaining too much. Like I have my own sin battles, and I am actively engaged in the battle to combat those and overcome those, and also engaged in the battle to, again, care for others and sacrifice and do a little bit more to be considerate and compassionate, chivalrous and civil to those around me. Love all of God's children around me in all circumstances. As hard as that is, as unfair as that is, when they don't love you back and they hate you and they want to harm you, you still have to be like God, and you have to be unfair, and you have to forgive them, and you have to be willing to love them anyways. And I want to encourage you, Christian man, to join me in that struggle to overcome those urges, those temptations, those negative thoughts, all that bad energy, and that temptation to make excuses and complaints and not change. And we need to cut the crap. We need to make the changes required. We need to stop making those excuses of, I'm born this way, or that's how I've always been, so there's no changing it. We need to change. We need to be the change we want to see in the world. We need to be the change we want to see in ourselves. And especially if Christ has come and changed you for the better, you should continue on with that desire to keep wanting to be changed for the better. Keep going. If you were once bad and you're now pretty good, keep going and become really good. Don't stop changing. Don't settle for good enough. Don't settle for I've changed a lot. Settle for I want to keep changing from where I was yesterday into a better man today, and then even a better man tomorrow. And I don't really know where I'm going and rambling with this all. I guess I'm trying to like unify everything I was saying into one thought. But I'll just end with, just thank God. Like the song says, I thank God. He picked me up, he turned me around, and for that, I thank God, right? He picked me up. I was headed in the wrong direction. I was animalistic and headed in the wrong direction. And you know what? God picked me up, he turned me around, and he changed my direction into the eternity with him in his home where he wants me to be, right? And where you want to be and where I want you to be. So be picked up, turn around, be changed for the better, stop making excuses. Come on, Christian man, join me in caring more about others, being considerate of others, loving others more, forgiving others better. And I guess that's just it. We'll end there. Thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Thank you for putting up with me. I let this fire go out, man. What a man I am, letting this fire burn out like that. But we are going to read. I might stream tomorrow. I might come back tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon and do another stream. We'll see. So actually, before we wrap up, this was what I was talking about in my last stream. We're going to show you here. Right? Are the glasses working? Let's make sure they're working here. Working? So this is what I was talking about in my last stream, guys. This is that cherry wood. So this is like normal firewood. This is like just stuff I bought. This is just stuff that's like purchased at the gift shop right there. I'm going to spread it out, get a little bit of air going. Get a little bit of air, but also get a little bit of fuel going. And so here's what we were talking about. So that'll start getting going. Put a little kindling on it. Not really kindling, but just smaller stuff. Smaller stuff to add a little bit of fuel to the fire. I'm tripping. I'm going crazy. But this is what I was talking about. If you can see this. This is that cherry wood. So I made this. I didn't make this. I cut this down. It's a beautiful tree, man. Literally, you can like see the sap. This was like such a beautiful tree. And I'm not an idiot, guys. I said the comment. I bet you're probably going to roast me in the comments or whatever. I know like putting cherry wood on the fire, like right now, like what I'm going to do right here. Guys, I know that's not going to like make my campfire smell like cherry blossoms. That's not what I misspoke when I said that, okay? So don't judge me too harshly. What I meant is there is like lighter woods. Lighter woods can make like the campfire smell less harsh. So some of these darker woods, sometimes you just buy wood and it can be real like harsh. I mean, obviously sometimes if you're getting like wet wood or wood that hasn't dried out, it's gonna be harsher and smokier. But I just mean the aroma's a little like darker, earthier, more of like a cigar-y, you know, like smokier, darker. I mean, obviously it is smoke, but it's like that darker aroma. But sometimes you get a lighter wood, like a pine wood or something, like a very bright, light wood. And it is just more like a sawdusty, more like a light kind of smell. And so the comment I was making was that the cherry I was expecting to have a more like a light aroma, but I just couldn't really tell. So we'll see. I guess we can trial and error again, but yeah, this is that tree that I cut down, that cherry tree. Like George Washington, I cut down. This was the thing you can see on my glasses. See, this is the cut I made. Incorrect cut I made with a chainsaw somehow. Or maybe that was the exit cut. Who knows? Long story short, like George Washington, like your boy Georgie Dubs, G Dubs. Your boy cut down a cherry tree and now he's burning it on a campfire in California, Kentucky. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. I am potentially going to stream again in the next few days. If not, I'm not going to stream for a while. So, yeah. So stay tuned. I'm not going to stream for a while. I'm going to be visiting my mom and dealing with some family stuff. But my mom is coming to Tennessee and we're going to be camping. My mom is also kind of temporarily this summer being insane and crazy like me and also traveling the country in her car with her tiny little chihuahua. And she is camping. And we are going to meet up in Tennessee and Alabama and do a little bit of camping at some different campsites. So I'm going to take some time off from actually streaming and just hang out with my mom, who I don't get to see very often, who actually lives in real California, not, you know, this place, California, Kentucky. So, yeah, with that, just stay tuned. I'll be back at some point. Hope the stream was good. Hope the stream was good. Love you guys. Hope you got a lot out of it. Hope it helped in some way. Appreciate you tuning in. Go out, do good, be good, love and be loved. Learn a little more about yourself and about your fellow man this week. I love you. Jesus loves you, and so do I. And thank you guys for supporting, following, recommending stuff. I do really appreciate it, guys. Thank you. And yeah, I would really like to hear your comments. Be a little vulnerable with me. Be honest with me. Share your thoughts with me. Share your struggles and your time and your thoughts and your life with me a little bit on this. Is this gay? Am I being gay right now? Whatever. I'll see you on the next stream, guys. Take care. Love you.